Hi, I'm here in my kitchen with ingredients to make some baby food, and I'm going to be using fresh ingredients and some seasoning. My youngest is 15 months old, and we don't use like jar baby food or anything like that. I typically give him like pretty much like what we might be eating, or I will make some myself. So right here I have some butternut squash that I bought already washed and seeded and cut. I have a bag of some carrots. I have some ginger. I have an orange. I know this looks crazy, but I use the rind for something else. So I have an orange here. I have a little bit of seasoning, some fenugreek, and I have some ground turmeric. So let's get started. So these carrots, of course, I like these carrots, but I don't need the green part, the green stems or anything like that. So I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to cut this up. The noise in the background, that's my family. I'm just cutting the stems off of these carrots. I'm just going to dice those up. So, these are a little gritty, so I want to really make sure that I get all the grit off of the carrots, the dirt. So I'm just giving these like a rough chop, not even a chop, just kind of like cutting it like that, and I'm putting them in my Dutch oven. So see that? Because I don't really have a name for what this is, but I wanted to do something with the butternut squash because squash is in season right now. So right here I'm going to open my squash. Okay, so here's my squash, and here's the pot, that I'm using, and I'm just going to dump this in there, just like that. I'm going to prepare my ginger. I'm going to use this whole thing of ginger, or well, maybe not, that might be too much. So basically, how do I prepare the ginger? I mean, you can leave the skin on if you want to, but I'm just going to take it off. If I was going to puree this mix, I would probably leave the skin on, but because he has 8 teeth in his mouth, so he's still a baby, but he's not like a baby where he can't chew food, so I'm not going to puree it to that point because he doesn't eat pureed food. I'm just going to leave this a little bit chunky. So, and he kind of sometimes feeds himself. Well, he does actually feed himself. It gets a bit messy. Be careful peeling this ginger too. I was going to use some fresh turmeric, which fresh turmeric looks like a yellowish or really like yellow orangish kind of ginger, but it's turmeric. However, there's not a lot of grocery stores that sell the fresh turmeric, or our favorite grocery store, which is New Leaf Community Market in Capitola. They have the fresh turmeric, but they were closed for the holidays. The other fresh turmeric that I bought a couple of days ago, I used it already. I just have to use the powdered turmeric. So I'm going to just cut this up, and I'm not going to cut it too much. That's kind of going to give it, chop it up some if I can, just to kind of let it boil up with the carrots and the butternut squash. Okay, so that's good. You want to keep some of the flavor. My orange. Now what I'm doing is just kind of filling up my Dutch oven there's not too much water in here, but it's just enough to kind of get, let this boil up nicely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze a little bit of this in there. Like that. And I'm just going to drop that in there and let that boil in there too.
Be careful. Be careful.
Okay, so I just removed this from my oven, and as you can see, the vegetables are like really, they're very, very tender, and they actually smell great just like this. I'm going to drain off the water. I'm just going to reserve some of the liquid. I'm going to drain off the water, and then I'm going to get out my potato masher, mash it up. And I'm going to use my yummy turmeric and the other half of the orange and my fenugreek to really season this up. Right now I'm just draining this and leaving some of the water, not too much. So I don't know if you can see like some of the water that I have left. It's not a lot. Of course, I'm going to take the orange peel out as well because I don't need that anymore. So I'm going to do that. I have another half of orange here that I'm just going to squeeze into that. And the reason why I kind of put the orange in here, I mean, aside from oranges being in season, but to kind of give it the citrus in it will kind of help preserve it some. So I just kind of squeeze that in there. And plus, kind of give it additional flavor, because I'm not like going to season it with too many seasonings, too many spices. Now the turmeric that I'm putting in here, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Maybe I guess I'll kind of measure it out just to kind of give you an idea. So I'm going to put about 1 teaspoon of turmeric in here. And my ground fenugreek. I love this spice. It's so fragrant. It adds a really different flavor to your food. And this is what the ground looks like. So I'm going to put about a teaspoon of that in here. And I'm just going to mix this up to kind of get that all incorporated. And I know you're probably thinking like, oh, my baby's going to be too spicy. Is my baby going to eat that? Trust me. Babies, you wonder why babies don't eat. Why you end up you feel like you're kind of making. Uh-oh, and here's my baby now. Uh-oh. And he just threw a little plastic fork on the floor. But you wonder why babies don't really eat the stuff that you buy in a jar. Like, oh, they loved it. Or you buy it and it's like you kind of feel like you're wasting it or you forcing them to eat it because it's nasty. I mean, have you tried some of that stuff? I mean, there's like one company where we bought baby food, and it's called, I can't remember the name of the company. Maybe I'll post a link. But they only sell it in Washington State. And if you don't live in Washington, then you pretty much have to get it. You have to buy it off the internet. But they have all kind of different food. They use a lot of different spices, and they use a lot of different types of food. It's not just the typical like bananas and carrots. They use stuff like squash and beets and different things like that. Babies love that. I mean, babies love that stuff. I'm getting this all nice and, I'm not trying to puree it because he does have 8 teeth. Well, he has 6 teeth, 4 at the bottom and 2 big ones at the top, and he has like 2 little tiny ones kind of coming in on the side. This will be great for him. If you have any of those mason jars, it's something like this, like a mason jar with a lid. You can put the food in here to so-called preserve it. You can then put that in a big pot of boiling water with the lid on, let the lid click down on it, and you just made your own baby food and jarred it. That's about the consistency that I want. And of course, you know, you can taste this too. Like, I mean, it smells really good. You can taste it to see what it tastes like. This tastes great. It really does. That turmeric gave it a nice flavor. If you don't want to, you don't have to put anything. How long does this take me? 10 minutes. I'm going to put this in the jar. Yes, I'm going to leave it kind of chunky like this. If you have a smaller baby, babies shouldn't eat baby food until they're old enough to be able to sit up by themselves. 3 months, you shouldn't be trying to give your baby baby food. But 14 months, he's older. He runs and kind of talks a little bit and climbs up on stuff. He's more than able to handle baby food. You can puree this if you want to. Like I said, if your babies are smaller, you know, like maybe 7 months or something like that, or I don't know, I can't remember when babies kind of start to get teeth. Here is the jar of baby food. Look at that. Look at how pretty and colorful. Look at how beautiful and colorful that looks. Look at that. And this stuff smells great. I mean, I would even eat it. This is some quick go-to, and you can use it, you know, you can serve it warm or room temperature, or, you know, you can kind of heat it up a little bit, or, you know, you can add it to, like, you know, maybe if you're giving baby some mashed potatoes, you can add it with that, or, you know, if you have like a little banana or something you want to add this to. It's really great and versatile. I love making baby. Give it a try. Puree or boil or mash up some of your baby's favorite fruits and vegetables, and let me know how it turns out. Bye.